For the past 10 weeks, I was living the dream. Every morning, except on work from home days, I got to commute across the East River, watching the Manhattan skyline grow bigger and bigger until the skyscrapers swallowed me whole. My office was across the street from the Flatiron Building, so on the short walk between my station and the office, I'd run into tourists who had endured a flight, a bumpy train, a strenuously long car ride to get to where I was every day. A reminder of how privileged I was to work so close to a landmark people dreamed of seeing, that I once dreamed of seeing. It was hard not to take for granted. Walking through the large golden doors of the Tiffany & Co. office, my day as the global brand marketing intern would begin. My internship can be chronologicalized by a series of decks with overlapping deadlines and a looming presentation to senior management. There were a few 12-hour days and overabundance of bitter office coffee, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. I lived for it. And the sentiment wasn't just isolated to me. There was a palpable sense of motivation, achievement, and a desire to improve suffused in the air. My team believed in me and what I was doing just as much as I did. All moved by the same sales objectives and a passion for the fashion industry, we were jazz players on closing night. So, I didn't mind staying at the office until 9 p.m. to pull my weight, to get my PowerPoint just right. The exclusivity of Tiffany, too, was hard to ignore. The swiping of my employee badge that unlocked doors the majority of people would never see the other side of. Hardware necklaces fashioned on real-life celebrities. Entering the Tiffany landmark and seeing a Basquiat painting within immediate eyeshot. Maybe that's all vain and capitalistic and stupid, but it meant something to me. Working in the heart of Manhattan at an iconic luxury fashion house was everything my younger self could have dreamed of. Mind you, I was also a huge Blair Waldorf fan in middle school. Getting the internship at Tiffany was one of the first moments I truly felt as though I had made it. After an arduous 4 years of university, this, my dream job, was a prize the universe had rightfully bestowed onto me for making me go through so much. This job was proof that I could do it, that I was strong and capable and important despite anything else. It was the emblem of success, the prideful closing of college, and the first breath into my new life. If I'm being completely honest though, there were moments throughout my internship, in the silence during my lunch break or in the 5 minutes between meetings, when the world went quiet and I was brought back to earth to reckon with the singular, terrifying truth of how weak I still felt. Sitting at my desk, I'd remember when I was 19 at a 30-year-old man's apartment at 12 a.m. I'd remember how he only had 2 cups, 2 chairs, 2 forks, and 4 bottles of specially delivered Tabasco sauces still in the box in his studio apartment. This would be the second time we had ever met. The first time was at a club. Shouting against the tide of loud music, he asked me what I wanted to do for work one day. A writer, I said. Perhaps he forgot. Because when we were at his house, he asked me again, what do you want to be when you grow up? Except this time I told him to guess. There was a sharp, punishing pang in my head when he said, a porn star. I'd remember how small that made me feel. I'd remember how frustrating it felt to start believing that maybe I really was that small. I'd remember how angry I felt while reading the jury's verdict, explaining how they would not substantially punish him for raping me because, despite being a rapist, he was also about to graduate from Cornell's MBA program with a fancy Big Four banking job and a perfectly clean transcript. I'd remember how furious I was over the simple fact that his success protected him from consequence. He was able to graduate and never think about what he did to me ever again, moving on to bigger things, onto everything he ever wanted. Whereas, my life was riddled with aftermath. My transcript has a few withdrawals from classes that I couldn't handle during my trial. There are bad grades, there's a medical record, there are emails. There's a whole cultural outburst featured on the New York Times and Fox News over the fact that I complained to my friend that one of my class books had a paralyzingly vivid rape scene without any kind of warning in advance. There are things I could not do. A million projects that never came to fruition because I was too exhausted, too occupied, too emotional, too small. I guess I thought that by graduating with my degree, getting an important job just like his, I could prove to him that I was just as big as he was. When my job kept me mentally occupied, I did feel that way, important and strong. But it all dissipated when I had even a second to think. Working at Tiffany would never make him feel the way he made me feel. It didn't matter if I'd constructed my own mountain, pushing dirt against rock to be as big as I perceived he was, with a shiny degree and an even shinier future. I wasn't proving anything to him because he simply wasn't looking. He was forgetting, exactly in the way that I couldn't. Jobs don't make you forget. Jobs don't erase the past. Jobs don't absolve you of the things you've done or the feelings you've felt. Jobs don't mean something about you, your character, who you are fundamentally as a person. Jobs can be good and fun and something to be proud of. Jobs can mean that you worked hard and that you're smart and successful. But I found myself looking to work as a way to make myself bigger than I am, to make him bigger than he was. And I didn't have to. I'll always love Tiffany and appreciate my time there because, speaking specifically to my skills as a marketer, I grew immensely. However, it was never going to be the thing that made me fully believe that I am valuable. Value is something that is inherent to me, and only I can prove that to myself with the kind of person I am, not the job that I have 9 to 5. Now that I'm unemployed with an overabundance of time on my hands, as a chapter in my life for me to learn to love myself for who I am, to realize that I am strong and smart and capable for just being me. I don't want to keep looking for some external redemption or verification from the world that getting raped was worth it because it would bring me a life I truly deserved. It didn't need to happen, but it did. No matter how much that may suck, perhaps that's all there is to it. Perhaps there is only punishment for rape, never a prize. Or perhaps the prize is still being alive and rebuilding my life. I'm not entirely sure, but I hope to share that when I come to that conclusion. Regardless, Tiffany was Tiffany, and Tiffany was great because it was my dream job. It wasn't a gateway away from my past or a karmic reward for having gone through so much, but it was still my dream. And now that it's over, a new dream begins.